So, believe it or not, I do actually work out. I mean, I know I'm way better at standing around and talking, but Amanda, known as Farm Fit Mama Online, she is my trainer, if you will. She is
There you
a
go.
farm wife from Sisseton, South Dakota. She helps me prep with all my workouts, gets me rolling, and is the person that also helps me try to eat better. I've seen the way all three of us eat when we're together. No.
Well, I was just eating McDonald's. So is that a no-go, the McDonald's?
You can, but you got to be better. Hi, Amanda.
Hello, hello.
So, Amanda, if you want to go ahead, did I miss anything in that introduction? And what can he do about what can Justin do about his McDonald's?
I mean, you can have McDonald's. I teach lifestyle changes, so it's not like you have to give up food to enjoy life. That's one of the things we preach about Farm Fit training is it's instead of handing you a cookie cutter program or like a strict diet nutrition, I'm educating you on how to fuel your body correctly through everyday nutrition. And so that incorporates, fast food. We live in a very fast food paced society. And so you can still have McDonald's, but there's options on the menu that are a lot healthier for you than, let's say, chicken nuggets and french fries.
No, and the place that this makes the most sense is for so many of us involved in ag, especially this time of the year with harvest, just making better choices of what we're doing and eating on a daily basis, because our good nutrition can lead to better mental health, less stress. That's kind of the road that Amanda started on, was wanting to feel better mentally, and it led to everything physically too.
Yeah.
Well, and what is the fitness level of the majority of our farmers? I mean, because I know, like, if we're busy with work, and let's say we have severe weather and we're covering that and it's nonstop, and it's by the end of that, I'm like, I'm just too darn tired to go to the gym, or too tired to work out. So how do you motivate our farmers and ranchers to keep in shape, and what percentage of them are, I guess, would be considered obese? Because the majority of our nation, by standards there, are considered obese, which I think that needs to be changed, but that's another day. But
That's a whole nother topic, actually.
yeah, that is.
Okay.
But how fit are our farmers and ranchers?
Well, I mean, we live in, or the agriculture industry as a whole is a very hands-on, how do I want to put this? It's a very hands-on industry where we do a lot of manual labor. And so there's things that we do, for example, today, I cut it really close on getting on and not missing you guys, is like our equipment broke down. And so my husband needed my help lifting something and fixing the combine so that we can get back in the field. And so it comes back to that because of the fact that, we're very manual driven like industry, and there's a lot of things that we do that other industry doesn't do. And so fitness plays a huge tool into that, where it's lifting tires, lifting parts, moving equipment. Like there's a lot of things that we do as an industry that other industries don't do, plain and simple. And so to go into that, as far as the obesity side of things, I mean, a lot of farmers, I mean, I hate to say it, we invest so much time into our crops, our equipment, we're always making sure that they're at the top of its notch. And then when it comes to our own personal health, we lag. I mean, plain and simple, we're busy, and I told Bridget this as well, as we're the world's biggest gamblers. I mean, we gamble when it comes to markets. We gamble when it comes to our equipment. We gamble when it comes to the weather. And so there's a lot of added stress in just that alone that plays a toll on our own mental health and our physical health as well. And when you look at that as a whole, like, we're a very stressful industry. We really are. I mean, we put a lot into God's hands. We pray for wet rain when we can get it. So that we can have good crop to sell. And again, we invest so much time into our practices, but we fall short when it comes to our own mental and physical health.
So what do you do to help them out? Do you put them on a nutrition plan, a weightlifting plan? Yeah. What do you do to help?
Exactly what you just said.
Okay.
So Farm Fit training, the whole ideal came about when I was struggling with my own mental health. I've always been in the fitness space where I've done those challenges you see. I've done those workout programs at home. I live the closest gym to me is 45 minutes.
Oh.
So, I mean, I had to get creative, especially where I don't know if you guys know my backstory is our house burnt down. So we built a forever home that we planned on raising our kids, our family in, and it burnt down the day before the national pandemic.
Oh.
And so we lost everything. Like literally I walked out of that house, not even wearing my wedding ring. And that was the time the next day COVID hit and the whole nation, I know you're not supposed to mention the C word, but the whole nation went on lockdown and everybody was buying gym equipment. And so for me, that whole 2020, I had to get creative with stuff around the farm, you know, to continue to work on my own mental health, because for me, I was at a very low point and it was just like, okay, how can there was a lot of things that I couldn't control. And it was like, how can I give myself time to unrelease these insecurities that I have with what's happening in the world? And especially with us, where we're now dealing with insurance, trying to figure out, hey, how can we get paid out? Which that's a whole nother thing. Insurance is a whole nother ballgame when you have to deal with them, especially when you lost a whole house and having to deal with that. And my husband knew that, you know, for me, I needed that me time. I needed that time where I could work out and really work through those frustrations that I was going through. And that's really truly where Farm Fit Training came to light, is I started posting online, you know, and I started sharing my own path with it. And a lot of people are like, what are you doing? Like, you're in incredible shape. Like, you're keeping up with your boys. I have two very active little dudes. I always tell everybody it's my job to keep them alive because they climb.
Not wrong. You're
like
not wrong.
they're into everything. They're just miniature. My husband's Louis Nig, and they're miniature Lewises, I call them. And so they were just super active. And it's just, for me, having that 15 to 20 minutes of my time and to invest in myself. And so that's ultimately where Farm Fit Training came into play, is I wanted to give farmers, and not just farmers, like all of ag industry. We're talking people that work at John Deere. We're talking people that work at Titan. We're talking people that work at FBN, for example. You know, everybody that is behind the scenes to help agriculture industry. And I wanted to give them a space where they could take that 15 to 20 minutes of the me time, but also impact their mental health as well.
So we're going to come back and talk about that. We've got to go to a commercial, but we want to finish discussing how that works, the things that you do for your clients, such as myself. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be a challenge. Nobody said sit-ups, though, right?
Just
so, guys, we had lots of questions during the break. Are you going to ask them in public now?
Sure.
Okay.
So Amanda, how do you if somebody wants to, like, oh man, I really need a new fitness plan, do you go out and travel from farm to farm to help these farmers? Do you have an app? How does it work?
So I have an app. Everything is online.
Okay.
And when I was looking into, when I got certified, for example, for personal training, a lot of personal trainers do it in person. I don't. I'm 100% online business. And when I was looking into it, I really wanted to understand how to be able to bring a space where people can log into something and see their workouts, you know, be able to communicate. It also takes that awkwardness away, where I have male clients, you know, I don't want them texting me at 9 o'clock at night. My husband would be like, what the heck is going on? Like, oh, it's just a client, no big deal. But
don't worry about him.
You know, I wanted to give it a space. And so I do have an app. It's called Farm Fit Training. I ended up branding it and everything. So I'm really excited about that. There's a lot of exciting things that are coming out in my app, but in this all-inclusive app, not only do you get the workouts, but we teach nutrition. And that's the biggest thing, is like nutrition is 80% of a workout program. You know, there's so many workouts that you see on YouTube for free and stuff like that, but you know, there's got to be methodology and a system behind what you're teaching. And so in this app, which Bridget is a part of, she's been with me for over a year.
Yep.
And it includes all of that, where you know, in the one-on-one coaching side of things, it's all tailored. It's tailored programming, tailored nutrition. And because everybody's needs is 100% different. Like if you guys came into the program, you're going to be a lot different from a girl that's 5'1" and 125 pounds, you know? And so nutrition needs to be tailored. And it's really cool is I teach a system and I give you tools to be super successful. So I don't hand you a program where you're going to eat chicken and rice for the next 6 weeks. Like don't get me wrong, I love chicken and rice, but I have a freezer full of beef, and we get a half a cow from, you know, our local butcher. And so my husband would have looked at me and been like, I'm not eating that, because I cook the food for everybody, even our hired help right now for harvest. And which is funny because they love it. They're like, how is this part of your plan? Like tonight I made lasagna, and they're like, how is this part of your plan? And I'm like, oh, it's healthy. Like it, you know, you can simply swap out like the type of noodles you use. And, you know, for like chickpeas, which is chickpeas noodles are high in protein, high in carbohydrates. And then, you know, so it's looking at nutrition from a different view. You're more looking at it as, how do I fuel my body correctly to make so that it functions at its ultimate best? Because by fueling your body correctly, you can see those results that you're working for. Like they had this huge case study, and I actually shared this when Bridget and I recently did a podcast where in this study they talked about, they had two groups of people, and one group of people did one round of like four movements, but they went till failure, where this other group had like 9 rounds and they had to do a set number, like the volume was set for them, reps. And so between these two groups over the course of 12 weeks, the ones that had the most success was the ones that did the 1 round for failure, because they pushed themselves a lot harder. And so a lot of people, especially, you know, where you see on social media is like these workouts are like 45 minutes to an hour. And it's like, that's not going to work for our space. Like, and it doesn't work for me as a mom of 2, busy. You know, I do a lot on the farm. Like yesterday for my birthday,
Yes.
I was all day in the grain cart helping my husband. And so it's understanding our industry and understanding, hey, like an hour workout is just not going to happen. And so when I created that Farm Fit training, I took that ideal of, hey, let's do quick workouts that are short and effective, and then pair that with nutrition, which I teach something called macronutrients. And to put it blunt, is macros, the word macro means large. And so our body requires certain types of nutrition in large amount, and that's protein, carbs, and fats. So I teach you that methodology and I teach you that system, and then you learn how to fuel your body with everyday foods. Like I've partnered up with an app called Dashing Dish, and we make Sean and Katie, which are absolutely fantastic. In the horizon, by the way, there is a nutrition app coming out for me, but right now I use their app, and they have over 1,000 macro friendly meals that you can make from home. And lasagna is one of them. You know, you're learning how to make normal staple foods, and just making those simple changes has a profound effect on how to fuel your body.
Right. So like Dean and I, we like our meat, we like our beer.
Well, yeah,
we don't have to.
I've got Bacardi and Diet in here, and you know,
That looks a little clear.
Vodka.
There we go.
Straight vodka.
We don't have to cut the beer out. We can work around that and
Correct.
kind of
Yep.
tailor that nutrition with that in mind. You know, just kind of balance it out in other places or do something a little differently.
And
Yeah.
that's what Amanda did for me, was just redefining the way I thought about how I was going to eat, making sure I took extra protein in when it was appropriate. But also the flexibility of the fitness. Instead of I have to be at a gym at a certain time, I have to be online with my trainer. She's got the app set up, and there's folks in our group that, like Jody in Wisconsin, she is up every day at 4:30 in the morning. That's what she does. She does her workout. I'm more of a 5 o'clock in the afternoon type gal, but it works out because we can choose how we want to do it.
And the workouts are how long again?
Usually 20
Roughly?
to 25 minutes.
20, I think the longest workout would be 25 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're like 15 to 25 minutes, but they're at your own pace.
Yes.
So like I give you the time, how long it would take you, but again, it's at your own pace. So instead of like, you know, putting a movie in or hitting play and you have to go at the pace of what you're watching, you're going about these workouts at your own speed. But I obviously teach intensity, like, you know, you want to up your weights. I help coach in that aspect as well. And then I also help coach, you know, hey, I give you a time of how long this should take you so that you can challenge yourself through the workout and push yourself, being like, hey, I don't have time to take a rest here. I need to move quickly into this next movement to be able to get close to that time. But we all see that. And I also see, like, if you have a smartwatch, it links to the app. So I can see your BPM, you know, and I can see how you're challenging yourself. It's very all inclusive. Like there's a lot of really amazing benefits built into this app so that us as trainers, we can really dive in and be able to help you excel, and excel where you're at is the important part. You know, everybody, just like I was telling you guys on the break, is like everybody comes into this at different spots in their own physical health, you know, and for example, some people don't even work out. Like I had a guy that's been one of the original OGs. He's original gangsters, if you want to know what that stands for. He's been with me for over a year and a half, well, almost 2 years, because 2 years will be in February since I launched. And he started out at 400 pounds, and he's now on to 280.
Wow.
And he travels all over the United States. He sells molasses, and he's all over the United States. And so he does a lot of fast food.
Yeah.
And so I coached him on that. You know, he's a lot different from Bridget, who came in and she does a lot of her, you know, she's home in Fargo and she's able to, you know, be able to make some of her meals at home. And so that's the beautiful part about what I've created is we really tailor it to where you're at in your journey and where you want to go, because everybody has different visions where they want to take their health journey.
And so with the app of yours, say I download it on my phone, how do you go through that process? How do I get that? Is it completely customizable, like you were saying to me, like this is what I'm looking to get out of it, and then you make something that goes forward with it? Or is this something that's like kind of automatically selected, recommended that you should do?
It is. Oh, so first it's the application process to get into my program. The reason for that is we do get a lot of applications, which I'm honored and blessed. But at the end of the day, us as trainers can't take on a certain number of clients. So we do have a cutoff. There's a lot of times where we have to turn away people to be able to be on the one-on-one coaching side of things. Now where Bridget's at, she's in actually something called Legacy, which is my online gym membership. Now the only way you can get into that is you have to go through one-on-one coaching. So Legacy itself has about 200 members, where the one-on-one coaching side of things has currently about 85. And on the one-on-one coaching side of things, I have two amazing coaches, Tracy Johnson and Jamie Pearson, who went through a 3-month training course with me. Because I'm very a perfectionist when it comes to my baby, and my baby is, Farm Fit training. So I want my coaches to understand what I require of them. And, and that in turn, it plays a huge success. I mean, we have tons of testimonials that I have yet to post on social media of clients that kicked butt and took names. And it's a really cool spot to be in as a business owner too, because it shows, it shows that our program works and what we teach and what I've created, it works for anybody and everybody in our industry. And so the application process to get in is about 45 minutes long, and it's more me getting to understand where you're at. There's a lot of questions in that application where, they're personal questions. Like, I want to know what drives you. I want to know how you tick, where are you at with your mental health as well, because you can't work on your physical transformation without tapping into your mental health as well. And that's something that needs to be addressed across the nation, not just in the agriculture industry, but ag alone in the last 2 decades has increased over 40% in suicidal rates. And so when I read that study, it was just like, I want to change that. Like, I want to be able to offer something that gives them a space to be more work on their mental and physical health, but also instead of handing them a number and be like, here, call this number, let's give them an outlet where they can feel confident in their own skin again.
Okay, and Amanda, we have Al. Al, we've got about 45 seconds to a minute. You've got a question for Amanda.
Okay, yeah. So I've noticed over the last few years there, being on the road all the time, getting a Subway or loaf of bread there, they must be putting some serious preservatives in the stuff now, because years ago you'd buy a loaf of bread, 3-4 days later it's starting moldy. Now that same loaf of bread lasts, almost a month and it's still soft.
Yeah, I mean, just our society alone. I don't know if that was directed to me. Was that directed to me?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah.
I'm going to answer it anyways. But Al, to go back to your question, our society, we do put quite a bit of preservatives in foods, especially in the fast-paced, or the fast food industry, because that's how they market it. You know, that's how they're
A
able
lot
to
of
bring
sodium too.
There is a lot of sodium, but there is healthy options too. Like that's the thing too. A lot of people shy away from carbohydrates or fats because, you know, they look at carbs and they're like, oh, I'm going to gain all this weight. Well, it's understanding actually, hey, you can still have carbs, like complex carbs. Those are great for you. Like instead of, like if you go to Subway, for example, instead of getting white bread, go more towards like the hearty wheat. You know, get the whole grain bread because you'll have more success that way as well.
Al, we really appreciate you calling in and asking the question. Thank you. We are going to be right back, though. We're going to continue to talking with Amanda Nigg, Farm Fit Mama from
Push-up competition and
yeah, that'll be online here before long, and that's why we all are sounding a little winded.
Wait.
Amanda's
We
not.
all. Wait a minute.
yeah, no, not Amanda.
And I was going to say, Bridget, didn't you plank?
I actually had quite a few planks in there, and then when Dean's doing I'm going to go all the way to the end, I'm like, I'm just going to plank this. I'm good.
Which planking has a lot of amazing benefits.
Good
It
core,
does.
yeah.
I actually like it a lot more than I like my push-ups, really.
So I
would
actually
rather do
did a planking challenge before I launched Farm Fit Training. And that's ultimately what I guess guided me into launching the program is I did a planking challenge. God, what was it? Oh, gosh, excuse me.
It was. That's how
It was
I met
in
you.
May.
Yeah, it was during the spring. It was how I caught on to what you were doing. We did it for 30 days. It worked out great.
Yeah,
we had to extend our time every day.
Now, planking's supposed to be difficult, right? More
Well,
difficult than
no,
push-ups?
Planking has a lot of amazing benefits different from push-ups. Like it helps with posture. It actually boosts your mood. Like if you plank 30 seconds a day, you can boost your mood from just planking. It helps align your body. It helps engage all muscle groups. So it doesn't just work your arms like push-ups. You're engaging everything. So planking is actually very complicated when you think about the actual movement itself, though, is very simple. So there's a lot of critiques. A lot of people actually do it incorrectly. But back to that challenge is I launched it in May, and I think I had like 800 farmers participating in it, and they were getting creative. They were planking on barns, tractors. I mean, there's a guy that planked on a bison. I mean, you name it.
Oh, yeah,
Wow.
It was
It was pretty
semis.
fun.
It was amazing how many people were sending in where they were at and what they were doing in their time.
You're going to have to show me when we're done because I've tried it before and I got nothing out of it. So my form must be totally off,
Yeah,
is my
and
guess.
a lot of people think you have to be in a high plank, and actually you work more muscles in a low plank. What Bridget was
I
doing.
prefer those. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So how many clients do you have?
Well, currently we have about 85 in one-on-one coaching, and then in my legacy program, just over 200.
And if you want people to join, like you said, there's an application program. When does your next round of applications open, and how can people be following you in preparation for that?
A great way to follow me in preparation for that is actually to join my newsletter list. So if you get on my newsletter list, I'll announce it first in there. Same with on Facebook, we have a private Facebook page called Farm Fit Training Blueprint. It's great. We do a ton of free education recipes. Bridget posts recipes on Friday as well. So that's a great space to be a part of as well when it comes to getting the know and figuring out, hey, when are they opening them back up? But I'll make that special announcement. We just decided about 2 weeks ago, instead of doing a New Year's challenge, we're going to open up one-on-one coaching applications again. So just after the New Year. So in December is when we'll open up applications.
And how do they find your newsletter?
Visit any of my social media pages, and if you click the link, it'll come to my links page. And if you click that top link, which says Farm Fit Blueprint, not only will you get my free blueprint, which does have 3 workouts in it, but it'll also give you more of what Farm Fit Training's about. So it's free. And then they'll automatically be joining the newsletter list from there.
And what are the social media pages? Farm Fit Mama?
I'm on everything.
Are you?
Yeah.
I'm trying, except for Snap. I'm not over there.
Okay.
But I'm on, Instagram's my favorite one. But I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. I think those are the biggest ones that I kind of pay attention
Right,
to.
and your handle's just Farm Fit Mama.
Yep, it's Farm Fit and then MOMMA. It's all one word.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, boy, I'll tell you what. She's well, Well, she's got you in great shape. So I mean,
This is
she's
what
a
we do.
she's a testimonial right over here.
Absolutely. This is what we do. And again, it fits that lifestyle of most of us and what we do, not just in agriculture, but that is certainly a focus for us because that's where Amanda's involved and so am I. But just for anyone who looks to have maybe an odd schedule, someone who wants to change how they think about their eating habits. And it wasn't a big change. I'm not buying any extra food or doing something like that. I just figured out what works best for me.
Because I know a lot of people say that, well, you should eat, you shouldn't skip meals, because your body is an engine and you have to keep feeding it. Otherwise, it starts storing stuff as fat. But I can imagine in the agriculture community, you just don't have time.
Yeah.
So yours is a perfect fit for that.
Well, and to go into that, what you just said, that statement you just said, a lot of people do skip meals or do that intermittent fasting. And I did some myth busting on that because the fact that our body needs fuel, like to fuel it properly, to give us energy throughout the day. And so there is a balance between it, and there's the education component that we teach about it. But at the same time, a lot of people just don't understand that. And I can't tell you how many people in the agriculture space have snack packs. That's one of the things we teach, high protein. Mm-hmm. And I should mention that, like, what I teach is macronutrients, but it's a high protein diet because we're carnivores as natures. Like, our human body loves meat, and that's the best way to build that lean, sexy muscle, but also to shred fat faster. And so I do teach a high protein diet because there's so many studies out there how benefit it is when it comes to the human body and fueling it correctly. But with that being said, you still have to pay attention to healthy fats and carbohydrates as well.
That's great. Well, we want to thank you, Amanda, very much for coming on here and sharing what it is that you do with us and to all of our listeners out there across the area. And we want to